Welcome to Shots Fired. I'm Brad Freakin Nolen, and tonight with me, I have the one and only
Nick Bell
and the legend himself,
Travis Keene.
We are live in Cana, Virginia, to bring you our wild card round playoff picks. But first, Nick, update us on the standings.
I have climbed slight ground on y'all two. Travis has slipped the lead. Brad and Travis are tied for the lead. I am in third. 5 games out. 11 games to go. 4 wild card games, 4 divisional games, 2 conference games, and of course the Super Bowl. So I'm going to try to decrease the games back this week. Hopefully I can get it down to 2 or 3. It's the goal. And then I'll have 7 games next week, and hopefully I'm 2 or 3 behind then. And maybe I can be a game behind with 3 to go. We'll just wait and see. But guys, these playoffs are not like any other I've seen in years past. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, very unpredictable this year. The whole season's been that way from start to finish. It's been one crazy season, and I feel like these playoffs are going to produce a very unexpected Super Bowl. Maybe 2 teams no one's thinking of. Any thoughts, Trav?
I think the Saints is a clear favorite to come out of the NFC. AFC's up in there, though.
Travis, what if I told you the Eagles and the Seahawks are going to meet in the NFC Championship game? What would you say?
It'd be freaking awesome. That's what he'd say.
That would be a good game. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. I don't even know if both of them's going to get out of this weekend unscathed.
Yeah, me and Brad was just talking about it earlier. What if that happened?
Oh, yeah?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe the Eagles got in. I really thought Minnesota was going to... I mean, they had it right there in front of them. Home game against the Bears. All they had to do was win. And Chicago put it to them, so...
Cousins and Thielen were over there on the sideline fighting.
Oh, they were?
You didn't see him?
No, I was in Miami.
Yeah, what about that Colts-Titans game, Travis? I know when it was going on, you were a little preoccupied, but what do you think of your Titans falling?
Well,
remember the Titans.
I think the Colts have got to this game tomorrow by default. By Marcus Mariota not being able to play. If he would have played, I think it would have been a different story.
Well.
I think it's time for Tennessee to move on from Mariota.
I don't necessarily think that.
I just think him being injured as much as he has the last few seasons, I think it's time to move on. I don't see him being the quarterback that's going to lead them to a Super Bowl, much less the playoffs.
I don't know about that, Nick. He won a playoff game on the road last year at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, he did.
That's one of the toughest places to play, and he went in there and beat them.
But he's got to be healthy.
That's true.
What are you going to do when they're going to have to re-sign him to a max deal? They ain't going to want to re-sign, give him that money. You know what's the worst thing? You know what the best thing that can happen to Dallas this weekend is if Dallas loses. Because you know what happens if Dallas wins? They got to pay Prescott. They pay Prescott, they got to pay Elliott, and they got to pay Cooper. Then they ain't going to have anywhere to spread the money out. You know what happens when your quarterback is top 6 paid in the league?
He doesn't usually fare too well.
They didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, none of them made the playoffs. The highest paid quarterbacks this year.
And Prescott, by far, is not a... I wouldn't even say Prescott is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
I agree with that, 100%.
He is not top 15. Pro Football Focus had him 18th, ranked in the league.
That may be even too high.
Mm-hmm. They had him ranked 18th. Skip Bayless agreed with it, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp said he should have been lower, but...
I don't think he's top 15 either.
Yeah, I think it's just his defense and his running games helped him a lot. Cooper helped him a lot. So
absolutely.
If he didn't have Cooper, they wouldn't be in the playoffs right now.
I agree with that.
John Gruden has transformed the league. He turned the Bears into a playoff team.
Yeah, he did, if you think about it.
And he turned the Cowboys into a playoff team.
Yeah, that's true.
Cooper and Mack.
That's true.
Now
I agree with that.
The Bears got one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
He also what he did, it gave the Chiefs the easy division to win, and the Chargers. So that's why both of them made it, because that was 2 easy games for them.
Yeah.
And where Chiefs had an easier schedule, it gave them extra wins. The Patriots was unable to get the 1 seed.
True.
And now they're the 2 seed. So you just think if the Raiders would have been more competitive, I'm sure they probably would beat Kansas City in that 40-33 game.
They could have, maybe.
Early in the season. I don't know why I'm talking about this in this podcast, but I thought
good points.
I saw Colin Cowherd talking about John Gruden changing the whole league. But
yeah.
All right. Are y'all ready to get into these picks?
Yep. All right, the first game, 4:30 Saturday afternoon, ESPN. Joe Tessitore and Jason Witten announcing the game in Houston, Texas. We got a divisional matchup in the wild card round. The Indianapolis Colts traveling down south to play the Houston Texans. Travis, we'll start with you.
Well, I think, first of all the games this weekend should be really compelling and good, including this one. I agree with Bradley, though. I don't think this is a good broadcast crew to be doing the game, but it is what it is. But I think the game itself is going to be really good and entertaining, I feel like. 2 good quarterbacks going at it and everything. But I like the Houston Texans to win this game at home in a close and tight contest. I'm going to say 27-24. These 2 teams obviously met twice in the regular season, met real early in the year at Indianapolis. Houston won that game. Colts coach made a questionable call late in that game at home to go for it, I think on 4th down, and he didn't want to take the risk of tying, and ended up costing the Colts at the best a tie, I guess, and they lost. Then fast forward to, I guess, week 15 or so, somewhere along them lines, and these 2 teams met again in Houston, and the Colts got the better of the Texans that day. So, I think Houston's going to get the better of them this time. I know the Colts did win at Houston in the regular season and everything. I didn't think they would. They proved me wrong. I give them credit for that. But I just think in the playoffs, the atmosphere is going to be louder, obviously, and everything. And Deshaun Watson's played on big levels before in his career, obviously at Clemson, beating Alabama, one of the greatest dynasties of all time in our generation. So this guy's capable of playing in the big spotlight and winning some big time games. And he's got DeAndre Hopkins, who I'm sure y'all probably know by now. You've seen the stat, didn't even drop a single pass this year, which is absolutely incredible and everything. So I'm going to go with the Texans. I think their defense is a little bit better than the Colts. But I did see a stat on the Colts today that raised my eyebrows after I got off work. Their offensive line last year gave up the most sacks in the league. This year they gave up the least. So it's no wonder they're where they're at right now in the season they're having.
And on the other side of that, too, Houston, I'm pretty sure, gave up the most sacks this year, if I'm not mistaken. One of the most.
But, but yeah, I like Houston, though. I think it's going to be a really good game. Wouldn't be surprised if the Colts won. I think they got a heck of a chance to win this game. But I'm just going to go with Houston for the fact they're at home, and I just think the crowd's going to be loud and everything. And I think both quarterbacks are about even. I think Lutz, I think we could all agree, he's probably had a better year than Watson. Watson's coming off, obviously. Well, both quarterbacks coming off injuries. But I think I'd take Watson at home over Luck, though. It's going to be a good game. I'd say it's, like I said, Texans going to squeak out a close one, 27-24. Just had a little vision in my head. DeAndre Hopkins is going to make some kind of ridiculous catch to set up a game-winning field goal. Houston's going to walk off.
I got our proposal. So if we guess the score spot on and the winning team, like we do, I say we get an extra game. I say that's what we do.
You agree with that?
Do it, Brad. Come on. Like anybody's gonna guess it right. That'll just make it. It'll make it interesting because you have to. I hope they score a touchdown so that way I have a chance to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll think about it.
Let's do it.
All right. For now, we'll do it. We'll talk about it at the end, though.
All right.
Yeah, like Travis said, the Colts won the last meeting in Houston, and then Houston won the first meeting in Indy on a controversial call by the coach to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. Andrew Luck passed for 464 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first matchup and 399 yards in the second. That was his 2 highest yardage totals of the year against the Texans defense. And believe it or not, the Colts defense finished ranked 1 spot higher than the Texans this year. You don't look at the Colts as being a defensive team, and you think of Houston as being a defensive team. But this year, actually, the Colts were better. Also, Houston has the 4th worst passing defense in the league. So, I've been calling it since week 5 or so that the Colts were a playoff team, and I've been saying it, that they were going to make some noise when they got to the playoffs. So here comes the noise, boys. Colts upset the Texans 28-26.
So Travis said 27-24 Houston, and you said 28 what?
26.
Okay. All right, so right here, you got a terrible offensive line for Houston, and you got like an almost perfect offensive line for Indianapolis.
Yep.
Defensive line of Houston is really good.
It is.
But their pass defense is terrible. Indianapolis has got a decent defense. Darius Leonard deserved to be a Pro Bowl. Deserved to be in the Pro Bowl, and he didn't get in.
100%.
He was snubbed. But Indianapolis, Houston, I think this could probably be the game of the week.
It very well could be.
I'm just like looking, watching going on.
That's a heck of a matchup, man.
But what worries me is Lamar Miller is not a steady running back for Houston.
He's not, I agree.
But what I see in the Colts is with that offensive line, if they ain't going to be able to run the ball, I mean, they got luck to pass. And they got T.Y. Hilton, they got Chester Rogers,
Yep.
they got
Eric Ebron, who's had a good year.
Montreal Inman. Yep. They got some good targets.
Yep.
Not to mention, they got the better head coach as well, Frank Wright.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
And what I saw in Houston, I saw them kind of sputtering down the stretch. They had the Jets. They about lost that one, got lucky, come back. Jacksonville played them tough last week for a couple quarters.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They ain't got Thomas. Demarius Thomas is gone.
That's true.
Will Fuller's gone.
Yep.
Cootie's banged up.
Yep.
They got Hopkins, and that's it.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Colts. The Colts has got Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, Chester Rogers, Eric Ebron, Marlon Mack, Akeem Hines, Montreal Inman. Imagine if they still had Jack Doyle. I mean, that's a dangerous. And they got the best offensive line in the game. 18 sacks this year. He was sacked 18 times. Andrew Luck is a bad man. He threw for 7 touchdowns against Houston this season.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And over 780, 800 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. He's good.
Indy's got the better team, but it wouldn't surprise me if Houston won because Houston's at home.
Yep.
So I can see Houston winning, but I'm gonna go with Indianapolis.
It's gonna be a really good game.
31-27, Indy, the Colts. All right, now the game I'm looking forward to. 24 hours from now, they'll be late in the second quarter. So,
I think late in the second quarter. It starts at 8:15.
Yeah, I messed up. I was
Probably
thinking
late in the first, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All right. So, it could be they run the ball, so it might be running the clock.
Could be.
Seahawks, Cowboys, Fox Sports. Got to listen to terrible Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So biased. In Dallas, Texas, and Arlington. Man, the Texas is going to be...
State of Texas tomorrow getting 2 playoff games.
Interstate's going to be packed.
Yep.
The Seattle Seahawks and the Dallas Cowboys. Brad Nolen.
Well, these teams met back in week 3, and the Seahawks won 24-13. But both teams are much different now than they were then. Seattle's become a run-dominated team, and Dallas has become a more well-balanced team, focusing on defense more than they have in recent years. But the difference in this game will be the maturity of Russell Wilson and the inconsistency of Dak. I trust Wilson in this moment, and I don't trust Dak at all. Not to mention Seattle led the league in plus-minus this year at 15, so I see Dak having multiple turnovers. I'm pretty confident in this game. I think Seattle's the better team right now. They're pretty hot, and I don't trust Dallas in the playoffs. They always choke. So I'm going with the Seahawks, 24-17, and I can't wait to get on Facebook and read all the Cowboys whining and complaining, probably about the referees as usual. But we all know the NFL would rather have Dallas advance than Seattle because Dallas brings in so many ratings. So I don't know why Dallas fans think the refs are out to get them, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going with the Seahawks.
Well, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow night at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And what's going to be another good game, I feel like. Yeah, like Bradley said, these two teams met back in Week 3. Obviously, they're both two different teams now. I remember watching that game back in Week 3. Earl Thomas had a wild interception in that game. Ball nearly hit the ground, and he somehow held it against a shoe or something and ran it back. I can't remember how far. I remember watching it, though. But, despite the fact I think Russell is a lot better than that, I just feel like Dallas will have a chip on their shoulder, and I just feel like they're going to get a win. I think Zeke's going to have a big game. I think they're going to go run dominant, and if he gets going, that'll help Dak out some and open up things for him in the passing game. I think Dallas's defense is a little bit better than Seattle, and they're at home and everything. It's going to be loud. Not as loud as it would be if this game were in Seattle, but it's still going to be loud nonetheless. But yeah, I like the Cowboys, though. I think it's going to be a good game, though. Wouldn't be surprised if Seattle won. I think they got a chance. I think all of these games this weekend's up in the air. I think they can go about either way, but I want to go with Dallas. Want to say it comes down. I had another wild vision. I'm going to say Seattle's driving down the field. The score is going to be, I'm going to say 27-23. They're going to drive all the way down the goal line, and Dallas is going to make a goal line stand on defense to seal the win. 27-23 Cowboys.
Well, you already know I'm going with my Seahawks. Difference is we don't have Earl Thomas, but we've introduced Chris Carson. He's a stud. Mike Davis, backup running back. Rashad Penny. All of them's had games of over 100 rushing yards. Russell Wilson's had a game of 100 rushing yards as well. Doug Baldwin's a bad man. Tyler Lockett's a deep threat. Tyler Lockett's going to be the X factor in this game. Got Ed Dixon and Nick Manette at tight end. Offensive line's finally back and healthy. We got everybody back. Defense has got Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. So I'm really anxious. I think we're actually a better team from Week 3, and so is Dallas. So therefore, I'm going to pick Seattle winning, of course, 24-20. I think Seattle's going to score the same amount of points, but I'll give Dallas an extra touchdown due to the fact that we do not have Earl Thomas, which I don't think it's that big of a difference because the safeties that stepped up in their place. Bradley McDougall and Tedrick Thompson have done a great job. And Bobby Wagner's all-pro. I mean, he missed, did you know this? In the last 3 years, he's missed less than 1% of his tackles.
Wow. Well, I knew he was a special player. You can make an argument he's the best linebacker in the league right now.
First team all-pro for the third straight year at middle linebacker.
He's special.
24-20. I'm going to go Seattle. I'm going to say Russell Wilson. He's going to throw for a little bit over, I'm going to say 210 yards. And he's going to throw 2 touchdowns. And Chris Carson's going to have a rushing touchdown. Janikowski's going to kick a field goal early, first half. I'm going to say at halftime, the score is going to be 10-10, tied at halftime. And then the final score is going to be Seattle 24-20. I think the Seahawks are going to pull it out. Chris Carson's going to rush for about 90 yards and get a touchdown. I don't think he'll have as big as a day as they did in the past. I don't think they'll rush for over 150 yards, which that's Pete Carroll's goal every game, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Wilson's going to have to make some key passes in this. because we ain't going to be able to run against that Dallas defensive front. So there we go, 24-20 Seattle in that one.
Something else to keep in mind, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson never lost in the first round of the playoffs. And in my life, since I've been watching football, it seems every time Dallas goes to the playoffs, they lose in the first round, except for one year they beat Detroit.
And that should have been Detroit should have won.
So,
Yeah.
Dallas is known to choke in their first playoff game of a season, and Seattle has not, since Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll been there, have known to go pretty deep in the playoffs.
They have.
So there's that.
Okay, moving on to Sunday's games. Los Angeles Chargers, Baltimore Ravens, CBS, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. It's got the game. It's in Baltimore. You got a 12-4 wild card team going on the road to play a 10-6 division champ. It's crazy how they got in. They about blew it to Cleveland last week.
They did.
Man, that's crazy. Pittsburgh didn't get in. But anyway, Chargers, Ravens, Travis King.
Well, I like the Los Angeles Chargers to go on the road up to the Beltway in Baltimore Sunday afternoon and come away with a win. I'm trying to think the word to use.
An undercover Chargers fan?
Well,
Firm believer.
yeah, that's true. Well, sort of a little upset. I don't think the NFL is doing the Chargers any favors by putting them in the 1 o'clock window on a Sunday. That's, to me, not too fair to a West Coast team when they had these other slots they could have put them in. But it is what it is, though.
Are they supposed to put the Chicago and Philadelphia game at 1?
Yeah, I think that should have been the 1 o'clock game. And I think that should have been the 4:25 game, just for the fact. They need to take that into account, because it's basically 10 o'clock LA time. So, but either way, I think them boys be fired up and ready to play. And it is what it is. They can't do nothing about that. But, yeah, I think the Chargers is going to get revenge. I give Baltimore credit. They proved me wrong, and you called that one right just actually 2 weeks ago, back in Week 16 at LA. And this time it's at Baltimore. But Chargers play better on the road than they do at home, I believe, anyhow. So, yeah, I just think Chargers are going to win. I don't trust Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's had a good run. I give him credit. He could easily be undefeated, because the Kansas City game was somewhat of a fluke, the way they beat him. So, I mean, he could be undefeated right now, but I just think his luck's going to run out, and I just don't trust him. I trust Phillip Rivers. This guy, he's special. He just ain't enough words for him. He's one of a kind. But Chargers, man, they got that run game with Gordon and Eckler, and of course Keenan Allen, he's a stud. And I think Chargers are a well-coached team. I really like their head coach they got. Their defense is pretty solid and everything. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, though, actually. I think Baltimore playing at home is going to give them a boost, especially on defense. It's going to get loud, obviously, and everything. But I still like the Chargers. I do think low-scoring game. I'm going to say Chargers come out of there with a win, 17-10.
Yeah, both these teams have top 10 defenses. Ravens, of course, are ranked number 1 in total defense. And both offenses are actually ranked near the top 10. And Baltimore's actually second in rushing this year behind Seattle. And, yeah, like Travis said, these teams met back in, Week 16?
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago.
And the Ravens, they pulled the upset. No one's seen that coming except Nick Bell, of course. But here's an interesting stat. Phillip Rivers has 6 interceptions in his last 3 games. So he is trending in the wrong direction to enter the playoffs. It's not looking good as he did toward the beginning and middle part of the season. And I just think being at home, that Ravens defense and that run game, they can control the game. And Lamar Jackson, 6-1 as a starter. And I think he's the X factor. He's hard to game plan for because of his rushing ability. So I'm going with the Ravens at home, 27-16.
27-16, wow. So you got it not being close. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers played them 2 weeks ago. They're going to look and see the mistakes they missed, and they're going to improve. Because Phillip Rivers is not going to get beat twice by Lamar Jackson.
I don't think so, neither.
I think he's going to figure a little bit out on the defense. Like, the mistakes he made last time. He threw 2 picks. He ain't going to throw 2 picks this time. He throws 0 picks and probably 2 touchdowns this game. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. This game is going to be higher scoring than what most people think. I think it'll be a lot of field goals in this one. But I'm going to say Chargers win 27. Baltimore, they're going to kick a ton of field goals too. I say Baltimore kicks 4 field goals. And they have 19. So 4 field goals and a touchdown. 27-19 Chargers in Baltimore. Just like I said 2 weeks ago, they're going to improve on the mistakes they made. It's hard to beat a good team twice. You know what I'm saying? So Chargers 27-19. And to our last game on the NBC. Is it 4:25?
4:40, I think.
4:40 Sunday afternoon. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to the Windy City to play the Chicago Bears. Nick Foles, Mr. Trubisky. We'll let Brad Nolen start this one off.
Well, guys, I'm picking this game solely off my heart. Just something about Nick Foles this time of year, man. He's special. Since he took over for the Eagles in week 15, they are second in total yardage offensively behind the Atlanta Falcons, surprisingly. And their offense is just clicking right now. And their defense has actually stepped it up. They're top 10 in defense the last 3 weeks. So this is a whole new team, it feels like. This is the team I've been waiting to see all season. And they finally started clicking. So I'm going to take the Eagles to go into Soldier Field in Chicago and pull out a win, man. Just the magic of Nick Foles is the only reason I'm picking the Eagles in this one. It's meant to be that they're there. Didn't think they'd be there, but they are. So, yep. Taking the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Going to shock the world again. They were the underdog in every game last year in the playoffs. It's probably going to be that way this year if they keep advancing. So, I'm going to say the Eagles win this game 27-23.
And I'm going to go with the Monsters of the Midway Sunday afternoon in Chicago. I think it's going to be a good game, but I feel actually pretty confident that Chicago is going to get this win. Their defense is so good, and as long as they can just run the ball and not turn the ball over on offense, I think they'll be just fine. I think it's going to be close, though. But, yeah, it's going to be a good game. Trubisky just needs to be a game manager. Not, make too many mistakes. Definitely not turn the ball over. Give Foles and the Eagles any hope. But, I think Philly's got a chance, obviously. Just Nick Foles is sensational. I just can't say enough good about him. He's unreal. He's good. But, yeah, I like the Bears. I don't see Philly doing much in the running game. If they're going to win this game, it's going to be because of Foles in the passing game. I don't see them doing much running at all on Chicago. But it's going to be a good game. But I think Chicago's going to squeak one out. I'm going to say 24-20, Chicago.
There's another thing, too, I forgot to mention. Everyone's going to be talking about Chicago's defense being too much for the Eagles. Last year, they beat Minnesota in the NFC Championship game, who had the number 1 ranked defense, and Nick Foles absolutely destroyed that defense. It was something like that was the game that he really took off. The Atlanta game before that, he wasn't all that spectacular. But the Minnesota game against the number 1 ranked defense, Minnesota had the chance to go play the Super Bowl in front of their home fans, and Nick Foles just lit them up. So Chicago's defense is good, but I don't think it was as good as that Minnesota defense last year, because this year Chicago's, I think, ranked 3rd in defense. So that defense doesn't scare me with Nick Foles. He doesn't care.
Y'all had that game at home. This is on the road, though.
Well, Nick Foles played even better in the Super Bowl. That was basically a road game. No home field advantage
home
there.
Field. It's 50-50, though.
Nick Foles don't care, man. He went to the Rams, beat them. He just doesn't care.
No,
So
a lot better than the Rams, though.
The Rams are the 2 seed, Bears are the 3. I don't know about that.
But
anyway.
Did to him on a Sunday night about a month ago.
Okay, guys, I got the Philadelphia Eagles pulling out a win. You want to know a stat, Travis King?
What's that?
Rookie quarterbacks in the first round, when playing Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, are 1-9. The Super Bowl quarterbacks are 9-1. Or not rookie quarterback, first time playoff quarterbacks. So
wow.
That's why I picked Russell Wilson over Dak. I mean, he's young, but he's a Super Bowl quarterback. That's why I'm picking Nick Foles over Trubisky. Trubisky, I think he's going to be a little anxious and nervous.
Could be.
He's just going to let the game slip away from him. The game's going to get away from him.
Good.
He's going to make some stupid mistakes. So that stat, I would rather have experienced quarterbacks in the first round especially. So if you notice my picks, I took Andrew Luck over Watson.
Yeah.
Then I took Wilson over Prescott. And I took Rivers over Jackson. And now I'm taking Foles over Trubisky. Didn't want to state my philosophy too early. I was waiting until the last game to tell y'all that. But what do you think about that, Brad?
Another thing to keep in mind is Matt Nagy, head coach of the Bears, was under Doug Peterson in Kansas City when Doug Peterson was offensive coordinator. So I'm sure Peterson taught Nagy all his tricks. So it's going to be like the teacher and the student in this game in a way. So I feel like Peterson's going to outcoach him. I'm hoping that's the case.
Going to Philadelphia 20-17. So guys, that's the picks right there. That leads us up to the divisional round. So by Travis's bracket, he's got the Houston Texans going to play New England next week. He's got the Dallas Cowboys going to play the Rams.
Yeah.
And he's got the Chicago Bears.
No, the Bears will be going to the Rams.
You got the Cowboys going to the Saints, and the Bears going to the Rams.
I do.
And then I got the Colts going to the Chiefs. And I got the Seahawks going to the Rams. Eagles going to the Saints. Chargers going to the Patriots.
Well.
That'd be a good game.
It will be.
If it happens. And then Brad's got the same thing except for the Baltimore. He's got Baltimore going to New England. So.
It's a shame that the Colts and Chiefs couldn't meet up in the AFC Championship because I think they're the 2 best teams in the AFC. But one of them has to fall.
Be interesting. So, we're going to do this.
Oh, yeah. For the listeners out there, we're going to give you a little taste of what it might sound like leading up to these games from the broadcast booth. I'm going to start with Fox Sports. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have the call.
I'm Joe Buck here in Arlington, Texas. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks. Here on Fox Sports. Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Chris Carson, Zeke Elliott. 2 good defenses going off. And I'm here with my partner, Troy Aikman. Troy, what you got to say?
Well, Joe, I just can't keep my mouth off the Cowboys' nuts. I mean, I just love these Cowboys. I hope I can see Dak and Zeke in the locker room after the game. Maybe Jerry Jones will watch us. We'll have a big shenanigan, maybe a big orgy. I just can't wait for it all to unfold.
Very good point. Here on Fox, the NFL, we hope the refs give Dallas this game. Because when Dallas is on TV, we get their game, and we get more viewers for our television network, and that means more money for me and Troy. So, we're going down on the sideline to Aaron Andrews. Aaron, what do you got for the pregame report?
Well, it's going to be a good game tonight, folks, in Arlington, Texas. Got a former Super Bowl winning quarterback in Russell Wilson bringing his hot Seattle Seahawks into Dallas, Texas. Take on Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the Dallas Cowboys.
How is it on the sidelines?
Oh, it's loud down here, man. These Cowboy fans have got their towels waving, man. It's as loud as I've ever heard it inside of AT&T Stadium.
Pete Carroll got his gum in yet?
Oh, yeah, he's just chomping that gum, facing that sideline, sweating.
What's the injury report?
Well, talked to both head coaches Jason Garrett and Pete Carroll before the game, and there are no injuries to report for this game tonight.
Oh, Jason Garrett better calm down with the clapping down there. The game hasn't even started, and he's already clapped his hand red. Yep. Joe, we're in for a long game.
Well, we'll be right around the corner with some more football. Kickoff next. I'm Joe Buck. This is Troy Aikman, and that's Aaron Andrews, our sideline reporter, here on Fox Sports.
So yeah, that's what it might sound like before the Seahawks-Cowboys game. Now let's go to the... what are we going to next, Nick?
CBS, the 1 o'clock game.
Commercial break in progress, folks.
Give us 1 second.
Got to do our advertisements.
There it is. Here in Baltimore, 2 good defenses. I'm Jim Nance. Tony Romo's my partner. Our sideline reporter, Michelle Tafoya. We got the young, electrifying Lamar Jackson facing off against a veteran, Phillip Rivers. Man, this is going to be an interesting game. These 2 teams faced off 2 weeks ago. Rivers didn't have his running backs. Now he does. I think they're going to correct their mistakes and pull out the victory this time. What you got, Tony Romo?
Well, I've been watching Lamar Jackson there on the sidelines, man. It looks like he's drinking his Gatorade. I hope he doesn't spill it. No, he got it in his mouth. Oh, that was a close one. Whew, you always hope the players get the Gatorade in them. You need fluid for the game.
It is a chilly game time temperature here, 43 degrees in Baltimore.
I'm freezing my nuts off, man.
Michelle Tafoya, what do you got?
Well, it's loud here at M&T Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Lamar Jackson, 6-1, making his first playoff start today against a future Hall of Famer, Phillip Rivers. We got a good one for you today from the Beltway City in Baltimore, Maryland, folks.
Would you say the home field advantage is big?
Oh, yeah, man, it gets loud in Baltimore, man. These people, man, they bring the energy. But Phillip Rivers is a bad, bad man.
Yeah, I've been to some late-night parties here in Baltimore, man. These fans get crazy after games. Oh, it gets crazy.
We'll see. Baltimore makes magic in the playoffs when they play in the first week instead of having a first-round bye. I'd hate to see what happens if they have to go play New England. If they go play New England, you best bet I'm taking them.
Yeah, New England's going to be rocking, man.
So now, moving on to the NBC game.
The best announcers in the game.
Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. It is 4:40 Eastern Time, moments before kickoff, here in the Windy City in Chicago. And it is windy and it is cold. 25 degrees game time temperature. The Chicago Bears have won the coin toss, and they have elected to defer. So the Eagles will get the ball to begin the half, and my partner, Chris Collinsworth, is right here. Chris, what you got?
Well, let me tell you something about Nick Foles. Now, here's a guy, they don't call him Big Dick Nick for nothing. This guy right here is clutch, man. And Doug Peterson, we called it last year in the Super Bowl. He has the guts, man. Big old sack on him. He called the Philly special on that 4th down right before the half. I just can't wait for this game. It's going to be fun, Al.
What do you got, Michelle Tafoya?
Oh, it's cold and the wind's blowing off of Lake Michigan here in the Windy City. Mitchell Trubisky is making his first playoff start today at Soldier Field against the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, who were left for dead after their loss in Dallas in Week 14. We got a good one for you today, though, folks.
I'm Al Michaels. We're here in Chicago.
Now,
Kickoff right around the corner. What we got to say, Chris?
Well, Matt Nagy, here's a guy. He's got a visor on, and it's 20 degrees out here. He's going to freeze his head. I just can't wait for this game. I can't wait, Al.
Me neither, Chris. Here on NBC, we'll be back with the kickoff.
And we're not going to do the ESPN crew because they just suck. There's no way to have fun with those guys. Jason Witten sucks.
I like Joe Tessitore, but Jason Witten's terrible.
Yeah.
But
Miss old Gruden in the booth.
yeah, Gruden needs to go back,
Mike
man.
Tirico.
Yeah, I thought those two were good.
Yeah, you best bet. Next week, the Saints are going to have Aikman and Buck, and the Rams is going to have Burkhart and Charles Davis, and then the CBS is going to have Nance and Romo, and then NBC will be Michaels and Collinsworth. The NBC game next week is Chiefs, right?
I think
so. The CBS game's Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that is all for this week.
Go Seahawks.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
And Travis don't have a team in the playoffs.
He's got the Bolts.
Chargers.
His fourth team.
So we'll see. We got to do the timeline. He went from the Carolina Panthers to the Atlanta Falcons to the Tennessee Titans and now the Los Angeles Chargers.
Stay tuned. He might have a new team after this coming week.
I'm Joe Buck. This is Troy Aikman. And Aaron Andrews is our sideline reporter.
Signing off. Shots fired. Pow, pow.
See y'all next week. Go Hawks.
Fly, Eagles, fly.